Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. A funding boost for our region's hospices, but they say it won't plug a multi-million-pound shortfall in their finances.
The scale of our financial challenge is 1.7 million of ongoing running costs, so that this will go nowhere near helping to bridge that challenge.
The government says this is the largest investment in a generation to help transform hospice facilities. Also tonight, the grieving parents who want to raise awareness of meningitis after losing their 4-year-old son to the infection just a week ago. Lindsay Burrow talks about the book that helped her grieve the loss of her husband, Rob, and shine a light on the work of unpaid carers.
And there's been some very lively weather around today. Numerous rainbows, some thunder and some lightning. But big changes afoot in the next couple of days. Join me for the detailed forecast.
Hello, thanks for joining us on this Wednesday evening. First on the programme, hospices across our region are welcoming new government funding totalling nearly £2 million. But they say it won't help with increase in running costs due to rising energy bills and staff wages. Now, we have reported previously on Look North that many of our hospices are really struggling financially. Hospice UK say running costs have gone up by 18% in the past 2 years. In Yorkshire alone, it costs around £150 million a year to run our hospices, with the majority of that money coming from fundraising and donations. Now, today we spoke to hospices across our region who told us collectively they need to save at least £6 million this year alone. The government has pledged a total of just over 1.9 million, which hospices welcome, but say it doesn't address their long-term funding problems. Olivia Richwald reports.
Right, come on, Jim, let's get this bit finished.
Right, we'll do our best.
For 2 years, Jim Grant was the full-time carer for his wife who has dementia. He was exhausted and battling his own terminal lung disease. Jim came to St Leonard's Hospice 6 weeks ago and is now almost ready to go home.
They really looked after me. They built me up and get me thinking about, life, which was a bit a no-no before. But now I've got the will to go on.
Hospices help thousands of patients every year, but just a quarter of their running costs come from the government, so each must raise millions of pounds. At the Kirkwood Hospice in Huddersfield, 30 jobs are being cut and inpatient beds are being reduced from 16 to 12. They have welcomed today's cash injection, but say it's not enough and it can't be spent on staffing.
We can apply for up to £160,000 to help with improvements in buildings and technology this financial year. But the scale of our financial challenge is 1.7 million of ongoing running costs, so that this will go nowhere near helping to bridge that challenge.
Hospices across Yorkshire are eligible for £2 million of funding. Here in York, they'll use the money to invest in new digital systems to free up nurses' time and develop a better online presence to reach more patients. But they're facing a deficit of £500,000 next year and are using cash reserves.
I think what this does is it signals the support that the sector's got from the government. What we need to do now is use it to start further conversations that we're having about ongoing costs and the rise that we're seeing. We've got to use this as a platform and a springboard, as it were.
The Minister for Care, Stephen Kinnock, said this is the largest investment in a generation to help transform hospice facilities. This funding will make a real difference to people at the end of their lives. Meanwhile, the government continues to work on a plan to make hospice funding more sustainable in the future. Peter has stage 4 cancer and came in for pain management. After a week here, he's much better and about to go home. He hopes to resume his hobby of clay pigeon shooting.
Since I've been here, they've twiddled with all my meds and I'm now pain-free, which is brilliant. There's 4 of us and we have a coffee and put the world to rights, as you do, and then go shoot. Places like this are invaluable for anybody who's ill.
Gosh, you can see how much that means to Peter Yates, ending that report there from Olivia Richwald. You are watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. 3 years after coming to Yorkshire to escape war, the Ukrainians remembering their homeland. But before that, a man from Barnsley has been handed an 11-year sentence with 8 to be served in prison after taking part in violence outside a Rotherham hotel last year. Aaron Bailey wore a camouflage balaclava as he put wood onto a fire and threw missiles at police. There was major public disorder across the country last year following the fatal stabbing of 3 young girls in Southport. Tom Ingle reports.
Aaron Bailey was among several hundred people who descended on the Holiday Inn hotel at Manvers near Rotherham last August. Asylum seekers were being housed there. Violence erupted. Missiles were thrown at police, a fire was started, and Bailey was clearly filmed from the police helicopter throwing planks of wood and cardboard boxes onto the fire. Bailey had initially pleaded guilty to violent disorder, but not guilty to arson with intent to endanger life. However, he changed his plea to guilty before that case came to trial. He was sentenced today. The Recorder of Sheffield, Judge Jeremy Richardson KC, said, "It never ceases to amaze me how young men like you have ruined not only your lives but the lives of your family too. How shameful it will be for your 2 children and your partner to know that you are serving a prison sentence." He said how serious the event was and how much Bailey had been at the forefront of pockets of violence. Bailey was sent to the cells with an 11-year sentence, 8 of which will be spent in custody, a further 3 on licence. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Sheffield Crown Court.
Let's take a look at some other news coming into the newsroom this evening. Police searching for the body of a woman who was murdered by her husband 12 years ago have found human remains near a lay-by in North Yorkshire. Rania Alayad was 25 and had 3 children. She was killed in a flat in Salford in 2013, but her body was never found. Police have found human remains near the A19 in Thirsk, which they say they strongly suspect are those of Miss Alayad. A retired GP who stopped a train heading to Drax Power Station in North Yorkshire has been found guilty of obstructing the railway. Dr Diana Warner, who's 65, told the jury at Leeds Crown Court how she went to the line to protest about Drax's contribution to the climate emergency and deforestation. The jury initially said they were finding it difficult to reach a verdict due to a matter of conscience. After instruction from the judge to try a case on evidence, not conscience, they returned a unanimous guilty verdict. Dr Warner will be sentenced next month. Leeds City Council are currently voting on whether to approve multi-million-pound savings in their budget. Over 200 job losses and a rising council tax of just under 5% are part of measures to help the council save nearly £104 million. The council says inflation, the cost of living and an increase in demand for services has impacted its finances. Next tonight, this is 4-year-old Jackson Knowles. The toddler from Rotherham died suddenly last week from a rare bacterial form of meningitis. Now his grieving parents say they want to help other families and raise awareness of the illness. Simon Thake went to meet them.
He was their miracle baby boy. After 7 years of IVF and 3 miscarriages, Sammy and Jordan Knowles cherished every moment with their son Jackson.
Everything we did were around him. Everything. Everything we planned, everything we wanted to do, it would to involve Jackson. We took him everywhere with us, you know what I mean?
We never went anywhere without him. Restaurants, meals, holidays. He's been all over the world. Disneyland, Lapland. We took him everywhere, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was for him. And the enjoyment and the pleasure seeing his face happy, just this cheeky little face, it gave us great pleasure.
Last week, after a fun-fuelled weekend in Blackpool, Jackson complained of a tummy ache. When Sammy woke in the night to check on her son, she found a rash.
So I put the lamp on, and when I put the lamp on is when I saw the rash on his body. And all I can say is it were like burst blood vessels. So I rang 999 because I just knew in my heart something wasn't right.
It became clear to Sammy and Jordan that their boy was seriously ill.
And it was on the way to the hospital that they said that there was going to be about 15 staff there waiting because they suspected it was meningitis, and that's when my heart sank. And then when we got there, they were waiting. And they rushed him in and they let us go with him. They didn't stop us. So we went in, but by the time we got from the house to the hospital, the rash had just ravaged his body.
Within hours of that 999 call, Jackson was pronounced dead at Rotherham Hospital.
You look in every corner, he's there. Can't imagine summer in garden without him being in his paddling pool naked, eating ice cream and all the kids running around. It's just so quiet. So quiet. Especially in the morning, waking up and he's not running about like a lunatic.
Despite their grief, Sammy and Jordan wanted to speak out to share their story with other parents, to raise awareness about the symptoms of meningitis. Hillsborough will also be remembering one of their own this Friday, with a round of applause in the 4th minute.
We were a massive Wednesday fan and loved his Wednesday kits and singing Wednesday songs.
Barry Bannon, he's Scottish man.
Jackson's parents have now set up a memory fund in his name, with the money going to the charity Meningitis Now. Simon Thake, BBC Look North, Rotherham.
Gosh, it's just utterly heartbreaking, isn't it? And we thank them for having the courage to want to speak to us about their little boy. Well, earlier I spoke to Dr. Karen Forshaw, who's a GP in Doncaster, and I asked her how rare it was for someone to die from meningitis like this.
It is important that people aren't frightened by what's happened, but we do use this opportunity to raise awareness of what actually can be a really, really, really very destructive condition.
That's exactly what Jackson's parents want to do. So what are the symptoms of meningitis? What should parents look out for?
OK, so high temperature, vomiting, a child that is irritated by bright lights, or if they have a stiff neck, and that's actually a physical stiffness. And one of the tests that we might look for in a baby is actually to kind of try and bend them, and it's uncomfortable, and that would make them cry. Also, if the organism that has caused the meningitis actually gets into the bloodstream, then you can get the meningococcal septicemia, which would cause a rash. And that is that classic kind of bruise-like rash where if you press a glass on top of the rash, you're looking through the glass to see if that disappears or not. And if it doesn't disappear, then that is a big concern, and that would be a medical emergency.
Jackson didn't have any of those symptoms. He had a tummy ache before he went to bed. And those classic symptoms that you've just mentioned, as a parent, how do you know if that is meningitis or not?
So that you would get help, actually. Any of those symptoms, I would expect people to be asking to speak to their GP or another healthcare professional. If you see the rash and you have a non-blanching rash, I would say that's an A&E situation, and you should take your child straight to A&E. And if you don't have means to get there, then that is a 999 call, and they will come straight away.
But just to reiterate, this is a really rare condition.
It is, yeah, it is, absolutely. In fact, so I've been a GP now for 20 years, and I haven't actually seen a case of meningococcal septicemia.
OK, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Moving on now, this week marks the 3rd anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine, and we've been to visit a number of communities across our region to hear their stories and see how they're settling into Yorkshire. Today we hear from the Association of Ukrainians in Leeds, who recently held a memorial service in memory of those who died in the conflict.
My name is Larissa Domenko. I'm the head of charity Leeds Ukrainian Community Association, and we have a commemoration event remembering the fallen soldiers, the civilian victims, and seek comfort and company of each other.
Despite challenges, despite shifting political landscapes,
we remain steadfast. I think after the start of the war, around 1,000 of displaced Ukrainians come to Leeds, and I'm pretty sure 90% of them been to our club at least once. A lot of bring their children to our Saturday school. It's a thriving community.
My name is Olena. I am from Ukraine. I came in UK with my daughter because I am single mom. My sponsor helped me did all document because everything online, not my language. My sponsor, she like angel for me.
My name's Olga Callahan, and I'm the chair of the Leeds branch of the Association of Ukrainians. At the start of the war 3 years ago, they came suddenly. They just picked up their children and their papers and left with nothing. And now people have become settled in the United Kingdom. Leeds has been very welcoming, and the council and the government have done what they can for them, but there's still a little bit of uncertainty. Although they want to go back home, some of them have nothing to go back to.
We want freedom, and I hope my president, my government, very strong stay and not share my land between USA and between Russia.
We need people to keep talking and making decisions, and hopefully to end up with the lasting and fair peace for Ukraine.
Let's move on to football now. Only 3 matches for us last night, but they're all important in the League 1 and 2 promotion races. Bradford City and Barnsley ended the evening feeling much happier than Huddersfield Town did. Paul Ogden has a roundup.
Just a week since Bradford City saw their hopes of a Wembley EFL Trophy final disintegrate in Birmingham, but last night in Bromley, all disappointments were forgotten. A precious 1-0 win there. This week's Tuesday night strike from Bobby Poynton was decisive and worth the 82-minute wait. Bradford City move up to second in League 2, with Doncaster Rovers also nicely positioned in third with 13 matches of the regular season left. Whether Barnsley or Huddersfield Town will still be in League 1 if and when Bradford or Doncaster arrive remains excitingly uncertain. Barnsley's 2-1 win at Northampton keeps them well within range of the top 6, and the quality of Davis Keeler-Dunn's 2 goals is the kind that could yet help Barnsley upwards, his second much needed before defender Maël de Gevigné was sent off. Barnsley are in 10th, just 4 points short of the playoff zone, where Huddersfield Town remain despite losing 2-1 at Wigan. The Terriers never really recovered from a 2-0 first half deficit, although a nicely worked goal from Callum Marshall in the second half showed what they are capable of. Huddersfield sit 5th in the League 1 table. Paul Ogden, BBC Look North.
Now, it's almost 9 months since rugby league legend and MND campaigner Rob Burrow died. His beautiful family captured the nation's hearts with their tireless campaigning for the MND community. Well, now his wife Lindsay has written a book about her life and her role as a carer for Rob following his diagnosis. Lindsay had previously turned down offers to write a book, so I asked her why Take Care, the title of this book, felt right.
It was actually Rob that encouraged me to do the book, because for me, I didn't really feel that I'd got a story to tell. I didn't feel that I was any different to what millions of other people in the UK do day in, day out without the recognition. And I was just, you know, a working class mum, wife to Rob. But I think it was the outpouring of love and support for Rob and us as a family. And then I did some work around carers and highlighting the work that carers do. And I think that was the point that I thought, actually, do you know, there are so many people that do care, that don't get the recognition, don't get the rewards. And I just thought if telling my story and sharing my story as a carer helps another person or family, then that was a good enough reason for me to do the book.
You started writing the book before Rob passed. How was it carrying it on afterwards?
We lost Rob sadly in June, but I think that actually talking through that and going through that process helped me in that grieving process, actually going through, and I think that's why Take Care is so open, because it was written not long after Rob's passing, but I felt that if I was going to do this, it was important to me to be truthful and to show, you know, the book's pictures that I've shared in the book. Some of those are the last photos that I took with Rob, and he's surrounded by our 3 children, and they've got big smiles on their faces, and I think that just, you know, hopefully epitomises the hope and inspiration that Rob provided to so many people, you know, throughout his illness.
It has been given the Royal Seal of Approval by Prince William.
I hope this book provides all those going through their own challenges with some comfort and optimism, and that it inspires us all to look out for one another.
I'm extremely honoured and privileged that His Royal Highness has not only written but has also read the foreword for the book. I think to have his support, and I think the compassion and the care that he's shown our family is just so overwhelming and so humbling, and I'm so grateful for the support that I've had.
Now, Lindsay, as well as writing, you're running. Tell us what's going through your mind.
I must be mad. So I'm running 2 marathons in 2 weeks. I will be on the start line for the London Marathon in April, and then 2 weeks later the Rob Barrow Leeds Marathon. I think I'm more nervous about the running than I am the book, to be honest. So I'm running for Rob, and I'm running for all those people that can't run.
Lindsay, you're always so positive, but it is only 9 months since you lost Rob. How are you, and how are the children?
Yeah, you know, we have his good and bad days, and you know, I've got so much to be thankful for, and Rob showed us that, you know, that life is for living. I've got 3 beautiful children, I enjoy my job as a physiotherapist, so yeah, lots to look forward to.
I absolutely love Alan Carr. Welcome, Lee Thornley. So nice to have you on the sofa, although I know where I'd rather be. What are you doing here in Yorkshire?
2 kids and a job.
Yeah. Yes, there's always that. What was it like to be involved in this show? Because they seem such good fun.
Yeah, they are really good fun, and I think it was amazing, really. I mean, I got a call out of nowhere just saying, Amanda and Alan want to come and see your hotel. And I kind of thought initially they wanted to stay. And then they said it's for the show in relation to the Italian job. And I'd seen the Italian job and seen that they visit different experts throughout the stay. So they told me that they wanted to see my place as their expert. So that was a big compliment, really.
How did you go from being a trainee lawyer to then building your own hotel in Spain?
A very random journey, I think. I did well at school, did well at university, and my parents kind of said, well, is it medicine or is it law? So I went for law, and then soon after qualifying, I thought, this isn't for me, I need to do something different. So I moved out to Spain, found this piece of land with...
How did all that come about?
It started from the Casa. So when the Casa was built and opened, we had all these journalists arrived. It was supposed to just be a little modest B&B, you know, kind of that was our lifestyle business to live from. Yeah, I am, it seems that way, yeah. I haven't actually watched it all yet, but...
Well, I have, I've binged it all and it's brilliant.
It was really enjoyable to do, and I think it's put me out there as the founder of the business and allowed me to kind of communicate my own passion for kind of helping people with their projects. So I'm involved in a couple of different hotel projects, one that's come directly from the show, and I've become good friends with Alan and Amanda, which is nice, and I'm now helping Alan, hopefully, with his own house in...
Oh, yes!
So, yeah.
Oh, well, we'll have to get you on to tell us more about that. Lee, it's so good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Get us booked into Casa.
I will.
And Lee is jetting off to Spain as we speak, and Paul is in line trying to get a free stay at that hotel.
Well, you'll be able to join him when you go down to Bella Medina or wherever you go on the Costa del Sol.
Yeah, that looks a little bit more glamorous though, don't you think?
She's all classes, Amy. Anyway, let me show you a couple of pictures from this morning. I mean, this was quite dramatic in Garforth. This is called a Marmatus cloud, and actually, if a pilot sees that, they avoid it like the plague. It's a signal of a lot of instability, and interestingly this afternoon we have had 1 or 2 thunderstorms, and you can see that from Rufford as well, not far from the airfield, that Marmatus pattern there. But the good news is, now that system's out of the way, pressure is going to build, and we're going to see a lot of fine weather over the next few days. If you've got any pictures, the addresses are on your screen right now. So things settling down very nicely, a few coastal showers in the morning, otherwise it's dry with some sunshine. And actually, just having a look at that Spanish feature before, there's going to be more sunshine across us than in Spain and Portugal in the next few days. As high pressure builds across the UK, it means a lot of fine weather, as of course meteorological spring begins on Saturday. Now there's that lively band of weather that brought that cloud formation. Behind it, a number of showers. We had 1 or 2 thunderstorms across eastern parts of Yorkshire this afternoon. Those showers continue, but the wind direction does change, and it focuses the showers across more eastern areas towards the coast by the end of the night. Further west, a widespread slight frost, 0 Celsius across the Yorkshire Dales is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So tomorrow's high water time, Scarborough 3:41, Bridlington at 6 minutes past 4. So a few showers towards Scarborough first thing. They will clear offshore and then it's a really lovely day. Lots of sunshine, some fair weather cloud into the afternoon, but all parts will be dry for most of Thursday, and we'll see top temperatures coming in at around about 9 or 10 degrees, slightly above average for the end of February. The further outlook, well, Friday looks a lovely day. Lots of fine weather over the weekend. There might be some fog first thing, a touch of frost first thing in the morning as well. But into next week, it stays fine. And look at that, temperatures creeping up. So early March does look very nice indeed. That's the forecast.
Last night, beautiful clear sky.
Yeah.
Could I have seen the Planet Parade, or was it a bit early?
But we'll do it. We're doing it on the programme tomorrow night. Friday's the day.
Friday's the day. Thanks for the reminder. That's it from us. Join me at 10:30. Bye-bye.